Hello everybody and welcome to episode 7 of the Grumpy Gaming Weekend podcast on the 24th of May. Today we are joined by TurtleM0de and Snuppy. We have two guests this week because Taylor is away, like we said last week. She's away in Holland on holiday, ditching us. So we had to get two. We had to replace her with two people. But today we've got a few topics to talk about. Of course, we are also joined by Elliott. He's here as well, just in case you don't know him
fine.
yet.
Just gloss over it.
Yeah, I nearly just went straight past you, didn't I? Just be like, yeah, we got these lovely ladies, and then, oh yeah, he's there as well. He's here again. Bless him. But no, we are back. Welcome back to the podcast. We've got a couple of topics today. We're going to talk about the PlayStation 5. I guess you could call them announcements. There's been some announcements. There's been some stuff. There's been a couple of leaks and stuff as well that we want to talk about, because apparently people still play consoles. Who knew? Who knew? We want to talk about that. We're going to talk about the WoW Classic stuff because I know 3 of us in here are WoW players or have been WoW players. So we want to talk about that. It's kind of the big hot topic at the moment, and I've got some opinions, as usual. And then we're going to be having a Twitch segment this week. I know this is usually more of a gaming podcast, not really a Twitch podcast, but we want to talk about Twitch because there's been stuff, some stuff going on, not really news, just some stuff going on Twitch behind the scenes that I want to talk about. And we've also actually started a new project, or I've started a new project that I want to talk about that is relevant to content creators, both YouTube content creators and Twitch content creators, but it is kind of relevant to this Twitch stuff that's going on. So I want to talk about that as well. So, but before we do that, we always like to talk about what we've been playing this week, what we've been doing on our own channels. So Elliott, as you always kick us off, why don't you kick us off with what you've been doing this week? What have you been playing? And if it's Bloodborne, I'm going to end the podcast right now.
No, I finished Bloodborne last week. It was done and finished. So since then, I've been playing Sekiro just like all the time. It's basically Bloodborne with shinobis and ninjas and
Japanese Bloodborne. Let's be honest.
But yeah, I'm super enjoying it. We had a conversation in your Twitch chat the other day where you were basically saying like, how was I feeling about it? And I'm really enjoying it. It's very different to other From Software games. Like the combat skill cap, I would say, like the skill ceiling to the game. Like you can get real good at the combat. I have not done that yet. So yeah, it's still kind of kicking my ass a bit, but I took out a couple of bosses on my last stream. So yeah, that was good. And then around that, I've been playing some House Flipper, which I know you're a big fan of, Grumps.
Spoiler, I'm not. I'm not a big fan of
yeah, playing some House Flipper and been carrying on with Doom on my Finish It Fridays. Except this week, Finish It Friday was not Doom because I did a hungover stream on Monday, which is why I was playing House Flipper. It's like the perfect hangover game. I just sat and painted a house and was just like, guys, please send help.
We haven't introduced the guests properly yet. We'll do that as we go on to what we've all been playing. But Turtle actually was around when I streamed House Flipper, which feels like a lifetime ago. And we actually did because I figured out in House Flipper you can, and this again, I played it for one day. I streamed it one day and I was like, never again. But I figured out that you could put your own images into the game, which for a stream game is like hilarious. So we ended up doing a wall of women. And I think you were there, Turtle. I think you were there.
I came into my face on the wall, so
yeah.
I wasn't there until my face was on the wall.
Yeah, I didn't ask permission. I just put a lot of pictures of women. I was like, what pictures of women do I have on my hard drive that are available for stream?
You have pictures of Turtle on your hard drive.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was. We did I remember why. I did some like funny picture where I replaced your face or something and replaced it with something else.
Yeah, so I think it was with your face.
Yeah, no, it was. I like photoshopped my face onto Turtle's face, and I was like being grumpy mode or something like that. It was for a gag. It was for a joke back in the day.
Bad joke.
Yeah,
most of my jokes are very bad.
Putting your own pictures in House Flipper, hilarious. You saw Grandma's room.
Yeah.
For TurtleM0de Snuppy246, who I don't think were there. I made a room for this like big family, so it's like 3 kids, a couple, and then like grandma lives with them. So I made a room that was like beige walls, beige carpet, and there was just a huge mural of death on the wall.
Well, it was like quite a classy painting. It was like a painting of like the death, with his what do you call it, a scythe? There you go, with his scythe, like the Grim Reaper. It wasn't like
he was like ushering a soul and stuff. I was like, oh, it's like a really cool painting. Like grandma will like it. It's classical art style. And chat were like, stop trying to kill grandma. And then DJ made me put a gun in her room. which I took out.
Yeah.
It was fine. We didn't give Grandma a gun.
Probably.
There's kids in the house. That would be irresponsible.
Yeah, I was going to say probably for the best, let's be honest. But moving on, Turtle, we haven't introduced you yet. Why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you? How did we get you on the podcast? What do you do?
Just begged me. No, I'm TurtleM0de. I am not currently really streaming too much anymore. I am dealing with an 11-week-old baby that I love dearly.
Dealing with, you made it. It's not like you found it.
Dealing with. I gave birth to this thing.
I just came home one day and there was a baby.
It's the strangest thing. No, but he definitely consumes all the time, so I haven't been able to stream. I started YouTube, and I hope that I will be able to do that because it's a little bit easier to do when he's sleeping and everything, come back over. But I was a variety streamer. I still am a variety streamer. Started off in World of Warcraft, streaming that, and then moved on to different kinds of games. Just really, I enjoy indie games a lot, and just playing those kind of games.
Yeah, this is how we met, wasn't it? Like we, a lot of the first streamers I ever met and started to sort of network with we were all WoW streamers, which is one of the reasons why I really want to talk about it today, because obviously it is part of a lot of our, a lot of gamers' history. But yeah, I don't even know, how did we originally meet? Like, I think one of the DNA people...
Adonria,
Was it
I want to
Adonria?
believe.
Yeah, I think Adonria may have raided you.
Because I found her, and then we've somehow found each other.
Yeah, which happens a lot on Twitch. A raid happens and then you like that streamer and then you become a follower and then if you network effectively, if you're making friends like you should be doing, then this happens. And then before you know it, you know too many people and you can't watch anyone's streams anymore because there's too many of them.
Pretty much.
But yeah, like we say, we are on baby watch. So if Turtle does have to jump up and run away for the baby, please be understanding of that. It is, it is a situation. 11 weeks old, did you say he is? 11 weeks?
Yes, he'll be 12 weeks. So basically 3 months this Wednesday.
So you are a brand new mother. So thank you so much for coming on in the midst of raising a child. I appreciate it.
I've been wanting to get back into it, but it's slow going for sure.
Yeah, it is tough. We've talked about this before about if you have a break from streaming, like the getting going again can be very difficult. And I'm assuming you've been away for quite a while now. It's going to be difficult to get back on your feet. But as always, we will always be there if you need us while you're at it. Snuppy, why don't you introduce yourself? What have you been up to? Who are you? What do you do? Let people know.
A lot of questions at one time.
So many. I throw them at you.
My name is Snuppy, or Snupsy. I'm currently switching back and forth depending on who I talk to. I'm also a variety streamer. I started streaming Sims, or that I was drawing on computer. And I've currently had way too long break because I needed to upgrade my computer. And I'm still kind of on a break because I can't get back into my Twitch account. So,
yeah, you've been struggling with that, haven't you? Do you want to tell us what you've been struggling with? Do you want to rant about it? Are you okay?
Rant about it. Well,
this is your soapbox. Rant. Go ahead. It's not just
okay.
Just got ready.
A month ago, I started to think, well, now I got the parts, I can finally get back to streaming. And I tried to log into my account. And then I was like, okay, well, I need that verification code. Fair enough. I don't get the verification code ever. How many times I log in, don't get it. So I sent Twitch an email. Like I said, this was a month ago. Yeah. I sent them an email and was like, hey, I need help. I can't get the second code. Can you guys help me get it off? Because this is me. I have given you my IP address. Yeah, I've given you everything that you asked for. Still nothing.
Yeah,
so I'm like, yay.
It's super frustrating, and it's not the only time I've heard of this happening where people have been, locked out of their account because of things like two-factor authentication and then can't get back in, which if you can't just make a new account and start streaming. You've got an established audience, you've got people who follow you. You can't just make a new account. I must be very, very frustrating. But hopefully you can get that sorted out and we can have you back on stream. Have you guys been playing anything this week? I know you're both not streaming, but have you been playing anything in your own time? Any games that you've been playing at all? Turtle, you been doing much?
When I can, hop on Overwatch. Overwatch is like my true love. I can't stream it just because my internet is crap. Yeah. But I play Overwatch all the time in my free time. And I did play a little bit of WoW Classic last night, which we'll get into a little bit later. But that's about all.
Does it trigger you if I tell you I've got 76 unopened loot boxes on Overwatch?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it triggers you.
Absolutely.
It triggers a lot of people. That's kind of why I do it. But Snuppy, what about you? Sorry, I always say your name is Snuppy, and you say it's Snoopy. I'm so bad. I say it as Snuppy, but it's like Snoopy the dog. I know.
Okay,
so,
like I told you how I got my nickname, and it was like Snoopy the dog.
Yeah, I still just call you Snuppy, though. In my head, it's like Puppy, right? It's like the same spelling as Puppy, so I'm like Puppy, Snuppy, but I'm just wrong. But what have you been doing? Have you been playing any video games this week? Been doing anything in your own
I
time?
have been playing Detroit Become Human again.
Ooh, bold choice.
Killing me. Literally just gripping into my chest, tearing up my heart, stamping on it, spitting on it, crying on it, and then it's Quantum
Well, now I really want to play it.
I'm not sure if that's like made me interested or less interested.
Like, I'm a very emotional person. Like, if a good story, I weep. A sad story, I weep. Happy ending, like really super duper happy ending after a lot of struggle, I weep. I needed 10 minutes when something happened. I don't want to spoil it for anyone if no one has played it.
Because I haven't played it yet. I'm kind of waiting for that PC release that we've been told about.
Yeah, and now I'm like, why? I've been waiting for it since Beyond Two Souls. I've been like, is it coming on PC? Please tell me it's coming on PC, because then I get to play too. And then they were like, nah, it's PlayStation exclusive. And I was like, okay, then I just need to get a PlayStation. Not very simple when you're 18 and barely have any income.
I mean, it's not that simple when you're 28 and you barely have any income either. Let's be honest, you know.
It doesn't get easier.
No.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
It does. And then now they're like, well, we don't cooperate with Sony anymore, so all our games are coming on PC. I'm like, great. You're like, what, 3 years late?
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
This is why a lot of people don't like exclusive, and I really can't say that I blame them, because I would always prefer to play a game on PC. It's like The Witcher 3 is a great example. I own that on the Xbox One, one of the very few games I own on Xbox One, and then I bought it on PC, and it's just so much better. It's so much better, which kind of leads us on to the PlayStation 5 topic once we go through what I've been playing this week, because you know this is my favorite bit. But I've been playing a couple of games this week, actually. I did a Rage stream, which was an interesting one, because Rage came out, Rage 2, which I'd never played Rage 1, or I owned it, I barely played it. So I thought Rage 2 would be a good opportunity to jump into the Rage universe. And I played it, I planned to play it on stream, and no one seemed to be bothered about it. When I say that, like, it just didn't seem to have this, like, people were super excited about it, and then it sort of just, nobody was excited about it in the same day. Like, it had this big release, and then everyone was like, oh, okay, it's here now then. Sure. But yeah, no, numbers on Twitch were super low for it. It seems to fizzle out, and it was all right. It was an okay shooter. It was fun for what I played of it, and I really liked the wacky graphical style. Like, everything's super colorful, and even though it's supposed to be like a post-apocalyptic wasteland, everyone's running around with bright pink and turquoise mohawks and stuff. I really like that. But yeah, it just kind of just another open world game that I feel like people are bored of open world games now unless they have something interesting. It's like even Days Gone, which I played a few weeks ago. Days Gone was another open world game. Even though that one I really enjoyed it, it's still just another open world game. So that was kind of it for Rage. I streamed it once, and I don't even know if I'm going to stream it again. I don't really have an inclination for it, which isn't really a selling point for Rage 2, is it? But that's
not really.
It's kind of how I feel about it. But it wasn't bad. I don't understand it. Like, it wasn't a horrendous game by any stretch. I enjoyed what I played of it. I just don't know why it doesn't seem to be exciting people. So I played that. And then I also played a game that I want to talk a little bit more about. I played A Plague Tale, which I know Snoopy was hoping I was going to stream it, but I haven't yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I started playing A Plague Tale Innocence, which, if you haven't seen anything about it, is a narrative story-driven game set in the era of the Black Death. So it's set in France during the plague, essentially, and it's really interesting. It's a very interesting game so far. It's obviously very story-driven, very narrative. It's all about that story, which so far the story has been pretty good. I'm not going to spoil anything. Don't worry, no spoilers, zero spoilers. But so far the story has been really, really good. The graphics are okay. I mean, in some parts it looks fantastic graphically. But for the most part, it looks pretty good. It's all right. But when it comes to the mechanics of A Plague's Tale, like, I really don't like it. And a lot of people seem to agree with me. A lot of people aren't a big fan of the base mechanics in that game. So in the game, there are two main kind of, I guess you could call them enemies. You've got humans who, for reasons I'm not going to tell you, are hunting you. And so you've got these long stealth sections with these humans, and then you've got the rats. But with the humans, the stealth is so basic. And by the way, you play as a young lady, literally a young lady. She is a rich, aristocratical French lady, and your little brother. So there's obviously, you're not fighting people. You're not, running around with a sword and armor. That's fine. So you're not fighting. So without fighting, all you have is stealth. You have to do stealth. And on top of that, I found that the stealth is really basic. So you have the main mechanic that you get through stealth with is you will find a rock on a ledge and you pick up the rock, and then there is a metal object that you throw the rock at, and the person you're trying to sneak past goes, "Oh, I heard a noise." And they walk over to the rock, and if you don't do it in time, they'll walk back and see you. And it's literally just this over and over again. And every single enemy will be stood either next to something metal, or there will be a pot nearby, so you can smash a pot and the pot will do exactly the same thing. And so I found myself being like, okay, is this it? Like, why am I doing these stealth sections over and over again when it's just the same, like, very basic mechanics? Now, the beginning section of the game, the opening section, had a stealth section, which was fantastic. It was really high action, like very tense. There was people are being murdered, and you're like sneaking past, and they're like looking at you while they're getting murdered, and you're like, don't say anything, like I'm trying to sneak past. And it was so tense and great. So to go from that to these very like bland and generic stealth sections was just really disappointing to me. Now I'm only a few hours into the game, and so apparently more mechanics to open up as you go along, but a lot of people aren't a big fan of the stealth. So that was my problems with the humans. And then on top of that, you had these rat swarms, which were a big selling point of A Plague Tale. These massive, giant rat swarms, which, by the way, if you haven't seen any footage of A Plague Tale, go and check it out, because the rat swarms, from a technical standpoint, are really impressive. Each individual rat is animated. So in this giant swarm of hundreds of rats, every single one is uniquely animated. It can look a little bit janky sometimes when they're retreating and they get like caught in a corner and stuff like that, but technically speaking, it's pretty impressive, and the game runs quite well, considering we have Borts.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I like how you saw it with just a look. You were just like, no.
Stop. We're on a podcast. But yeah, so these rats are fine, but then the way that you deal with them is just light. The rats do not like light in any form, so fire or sunlight, they hate it. And so you think that this could be a really interesting thing, but generally speaking, all it is you'll find a torch, and the torch will be lit for 10 seconds, say, and you have to walk between one brazier and another brazier, and that's it. Or you have to figure out how to light the brazier, or there are loads of braziers that are how many times can I say brazier in one sentence? But there are loads of them that are like suspended from the ceiling, and you've got to slingshot them down, and that's it. And then the rats retreat, and you're just constantly doing the same thing over and over again, where I feel like there's no sort of like puzzles there. It's literally just find the next light, find the next light, find the next light. And I feel like they've really missed an opportunity to make it a little bit more engaging. And so I really find that with A Plague Tale, I'm battling with the gameplay to get to the story, because the story is so good that I want to keep playing, but the gameplay just, honestly, it feels more like a walking simulator than anything else. Which, you know, it does have mechanics. Like, it's not a walking simulator. It does have stealth. It does have, you know, a few sections. I mean, there are some sections which were really great. There was one chase section, and there has been one fight so far where there's like a boss fight where you have to slingshot parts of his armor off and stuff like that, which was really cool. But like the majority of the gameplay is just very boring, like very dry, and I'm just kind of like, I'd rather there was a bit less. Like, I'd rather the game was a little shorter, because apparently it's about 20 hours long, and I'd rather it was a little bit shorter and I'd just get to the story.
Well, from what I've seen of it, it seems it's almost like a step away from like a Telltale game. Like, from what it looked like in like the launch stuff and the trailers, and then like what they kind of came out with was like, here's a vehicle for a story we wanted to tell, because it's not that gamey. It's just a bit.
The best way that I can describe it is they've taken The Last of Us and they've taken all the combat out and kept the stealth in. That's the best way, that because it feels like The Last of Us, the story and the world being very gritty, and humans all being pretty much, you know, every human in that game is pretty much some level of bad, with the odd occasional good person who'll help you, but most people are out to get you in one way or another. And it really does feel like The Last of Us, but whereas in The Last of Us, I really enjoyed the gunplay. I know not everybody did, but people said that The Last of Us was basically a movie with gameplay tacked on. This is that, but worse. You know, it is that without the guns and without that. And you know, you are going around and looking for supplies, but most often than not, it's just, oh, here's another rock, or, you know, here's an upgrade for my slingshot. And that's pretty much it. So you don't get that scavenging feeling of The Last of Us. You don't get that, oh no, I'm going to run out of ammo feeling like you do The Last of Us. You know, you don't get that, like, there's two guys in front of me, I've only got one bullet, what do I do? There's none of that sort of play, which I really, really enjoyed in The Last of Us. So I feel like I'm being very, very hard on the game. I am actually kind of enjoying it, especially the story sections. And there's been some already in the first couple of hours, there's been some like really heavy hitting themes in that game. And I really enjoy that. But it's just a shame that the gameplay is, in my honest opinion, so lackluster. So it feels so tacked on. But yeah, go and check it out. If you're really a fan of story-driven games, if you don't mind basic mechanics and you like a good story, a good dark and gritty story, definitely go and check out A Plague Tale. I would still recommend it, even though I don't really like the mechanics of it.
Before we go on, I am a history nerd, so A Plague Tale is set in the 1300s-ish, and I can say that by how certain people are dressed and the fact that the Black Plague was in around the 13th century.
Yeah.
So story-wise, like literally history-wise, it's hitting some points pretty good. And compared to that, it is the 1300s. The puzzles are kind of okay, I feel. I've seen some playthrough of it, like bits in here and there, because I really want to play myself.
Yeah.
But so I think that to be in the 1300s, it is kind of okay. If you think that, because they didn't have I can't find the word. There's something special they didn't have in the 1300s that we have today. That they were like, okay, puzzle wise. I don't remember what it's named in English, but it's like kind of important when it came to puzzle pieces and such. That's why maybe some of the puzzles are boring, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do you mean sort of like mechanical stuff? Do you mean like clockwork and things like that? Is that what you're trying to get? Yeah, I agree. It's like with the setting, and like I said about the stealth, for example, like, I understand from a lore perspective, absolutely 100%. What I'm concerned with is if you're going to put me in the position of I'm a vulnerable person and I can't fight my way out of situations, just like now I'm struggling with words. What's that game where you can rewind time?
Life is Strange.
Life is Strange, right? So what I loved about Life is Strange is that it put you in the shoes of a teenage girl. And so the way, when you played Life is Strange, you didn't go in guns a-blazing, you know, I'm going to punch my way out of this like you do in a lot of games that are, you know, adult male protagonists. So you had to think of the game very differently. And whereas Life is Strange did that really well in the story and in the dialogue and the choices, and again, Life is Strange was very, very basic from a gameplay standpoint. This game just goes like, oh yeah, sure, you're just sneaking past hundreds of soldiers now, whatever, cool. And I feel like it just kind of like, the stealth sections could have been, in my opinion, way more engaging and intriguing if they gave you, just as an example off the top of my head, if you get caught in that game, you're just dead. You're just dead instantly, like game over, done. Like if they catch you, it's a fail screen and you go back to the next checkpoint. Well, what about having like, you know, mechanics where we could like kick and drag and scream and shout and run away and stuff like that? You know, maybe make it a bit more interesting that way, or give us the ability to like think differently about how we get past that guard. Because again, most of the guards have literally, there is the metal bucket that you need to hit to get past it, and it's mindless for me. It's like, okay, I have a rock, I throw it at a bucket, I move past. Like, give us different ways of doing it, especially because one thing that I haven't mentioned is that there is this mechanic between you and your little brother. So your little brother, again, being very mindful of spoilers here, but your little brother is very unsure of himself. He's very shy, very nervous, and that plays into the mechanics. So there are certain times where you have to leave your brother and you have to go and do something else, or you have to actually tell your brother, go over there and open the door for me. And if you go too far away from your brother will start to like cry, and that will attract guards. But like, it's very, so far anyway, it's like very rarely they actually use that to any clever way. And I just think there are so many ways you could have done this mechanic between this, this dynamic between older sister who's still weak and vulnerable, but then even more weak and vulnerable little brother. And how do we get out of this situation where these guys are walking around, some of them in full plate armor with, massive weapons and pikes and spears and shields and stuff. Like, how do we beat them? Like, how do we do it? And at the moment, it's literally throw rock move. And I find that very, very mind numbing as somebody who likes mechanics. But no, I agree. From a lore perspective, it all makes sense. Everything about that from a story perspective and a lore perspective so far has been fantastic. And that's the only reason why I would still, recommend it, even though I'm not a big fan of the mechanics personally myself. But moving on, we want to talk about the PlayStation 5 because there has been some sort of, I want to say announcements. There's been some specs and things that have been announced. Now, again, apparently people still play consoles. For the life of me, I can't think of why. Like, why would you choose a console over a PC? But if you're not aware, some of the specs have come out for the PlayStation 5. They have been confirmed now. The biggest things that have been confirmed, which everyone's losing their minds over, is that the PlayStation 5 will have an SSD.
I think there's a lot of people that are excited about the because like they've said that they're super into like backwards compatibility, which obviously there's been times where like Sony has gone like to a new console. Like the PS3, the original ones could play the PS2 games, but then the later editions couldn't.
The PS3 was weird. In England anyway, there was 3 iterations of the PlayStation 3, and each one had a different hard drive size, and it was only the 60 gig one that could do backwards compatibility.
Yeah, it was really odd.
It was weird, yeah.
Sony's been known to not really play ball when it comes to backwards compatibility, and I think this time around, like, because I've seen like there's been a few people like polling like viewers, or I've seen like a few games journalists doing it, where they've been polling people saying like, which feature is it that you're excited about? And outrageously outnumbering everything else is the backwards compatibility. Yeah. Because there's people just being like the PS4's been out for so long, and like, the people have such a large library already, and you're just like, oh, if I get a PS5, is it going to have to like double up on my desk, or do I have to stash the PS4 somewhere if I want to play my old games? And they've kind of just got rid of that whole problem by just saying like, yes, the PS5 will play PS4 games.
Well, the backwards compatibility,
that's what I'm more pleased with.
Everyone wants this every console iteration, and I don't blame them, because you're absolutely right. Like, some people have had the PlayStation 4 from the beginning and have had these giant libraries of games, or some people like Turtle. I don't think, like, you were a late adopter. You only got a PlayStation 4.
I think a couple months ago. I remember
it was just before you left, I'm sure. So
yeah, I was like 6 months pregnant. So yeah, it was just like right before I left.
Yeah, so for people that have just bought a PlayStation 4, or people that have had one for a long time and have a big library of games, like the idea that you can then take that to the next iteration and still play those games is fantastic. It brings more value to your purchase, so I'm absolutely a big fan of that. And personally, I think that the PlayStation 5 should be able to play PS1 and PS2 games, so that means I don't have to go on eBay and buy a PlayStation 1 that's probably going to break in a year. But, they're never going to do that, and I understand that absolutely.
Well, I mean, they've been working on a lot of like God of War 3 got an HD remaster. There's been talk about all sorts of PS2 games that they're bringing back from kind of the depths of history.
Yeah, well, they did the Resident Evil 2 remake that came out, which was pretty much, as far as I can see, across the board, everyone loved it. I've not heard any real bad, negative press against Resident Evil 2. All I'm going to say, because I loved it as well, all I'm going to say is Dino Crisis when? Dino Crisis when?
It's never going to happen.
Ah, you see, Capcom said it might happen. They said if there's interest there, they'll do it. That's what they said.
I didn't know Dino Crisis was Capcom. Capcom might do anything.
Yeah, it was the same creators. A lot of the people that worked on Resident Evil worked on Dino Crisis, hence why the tank controls and the way that you play very, very, very similar. There are differences between Dino Crisis and Resident Evil, but a lot of the base mechanics are very, very similar. But no, going back to the topic, I mean, still Dino Crisis when, but going back to the topic, backwards compatibility, I feel like at least between the last generation and the current generation should always be a thing, because these generations, I mean, it's been a while now that PlayStation 4 has been out, but I still feel like there are people that haven't had that much use out of their PlayStation. I mean, I barely use it. I use it as more of a Netflix machine than I do to play games. I really only play the exclusives. That's all I really play on my PlayStation. I play Kingdom Hearts. I will play, what else? I played The Last of Us. I played The Last of Us. I'm trying to think of another one. I'm sure that Days Gone was an exclusive. So I bought
my PlayStation 4 for Horizon Zero Dawn.
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Which
and
is
it
why
was-
we say exclusive sell consoles. It's the only reason they keep doing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know?
But I'm since then I've picked up all sorts of games. The one thing I'm interested in with them is PS5. Are we still going to have PS Plus? If we still have PS Plus,
I
like,
can't
if we
see
don't
them
get it
getting away
anymore.
with it. Like,
Well, I don't know whether they're going to introduce like a different system for it, but all the people that have many PS Plus games, as soon as your subscription ends, you lose access to those games. All PS4 games, backwards compatibility already in the system. I'm interested to know what happens to that, just because I have 20 or something.
Well, do
like
we
free
know?
Games.
Can you even take your
67.
PlayStation? Wow, I don't even know how many I have. But can you even take your PlayStation Plus PS4 games over to PlayStation 5? I don't even know.
Well, this is it. Are they going to stay linked? Because, like, so say
They're
I delete it
linked.
off my hard drive, I can go into my PlayStation account and I can like re-download them. So
Hmm.
if it uses the same kind of PS Store system for the PS5, then prospectively I can just download them again, or even cloud play them, because they're saying about cloud play.
Yeah.
So potentially, like, the infrastructure's there to still do it.
Which I think again would be another selling point for the PlayStation 5, because it's, in my honest opinion, I'm trying, you know, all jokes aside, I'm trying not to be anti-console here, because again, I do still play the consoles. I mean, I love my Switch, but it's getting, in my opinion, it's getting harder and harder to sell a console to a consumer. I mean, to the idea of a console to a consumer, because something that we haven't talked about yet with the PlayStation 5 is that the specs that they are talking about are quite high. So we're talking about an SSD, which, you know, SSDs still aren't cheap, even though we've had them on PC for years. They're still not cheap. So it's going to have an SSD. It's going to have, let me get the specs up because I've got the article right here. It's going to have some pretty nifty GPU, if I can remember.
Yeah, the Radeon Navi.
Yeah. Where is the, I have the article here. Where are the specs?
Depends which article you're in.
Yeah, I've got about 3 open.
Right.
But yeah, so essentially the specs are going to be pretty powerful. I mean, they're talking about, there's rumors that it's going to be 8K ready, essentially, which I still don't even use 4K. I'm still stuck at 1080p. And I think a lot of consumers are. Do any of you play 4K?
I'm
No,
a full-time student. Where do you think I'm getting a 4K monitor from? Unless I steal it.
Exactly. So I mean, I know there's only 4 of us. This maybe isn't representative to the entire population, but I do feel like there's a lot of people that still don't have 4K yet because we just can't afford it. And they're now talking about 8K, which I think is going to be a minority of players. And, you know, I will say one thing, like my PlayStation 4, I have the original PlayStation 4, so I don't have a PS4 Pro, but my PS4 chugs on some games, and that's at 1080p. So I don't even think my console can do 4K. So I can't imagine that the PS4 Pro does 4K amazingly, spectacularly. Certainly you're not going to do it at 4K, 60 frames per second. So when it comes to the PlayStation 5, we're going to have exactly the same problem. They're going to claim 8K, but it's going to be 8K at probably sub 30 frames. I really don't think there's no way that a PlayStation 5 is going to do 8K at 60 frames per second. It just won't. So what are we going to do? Are we going to be a stable 30? Because I know that the PlayStation 4 has had games that don't run at a stable 30, which in my honest opinion, I can handle a 30 FPS game. I prefer 60. I can handle 30. But I cannot handle anything below that. If you're dropping frames at 30, I won't play it. I just can't do it. It makes me feel physically sick. I
can't see they were going to bring the PS5 out with 30 FPS because the PS4 Pro was the whole like it's 60 FPS. Like,
well, this is what I'm saying though. It depends at what resolution. If we're talking 8K, it ain't going to be 60. So when they're claiming 8K, they're not claiming 8K 60. When they're saying, you know, maybe it could do 4K at 60, which would still be impressive for a console, but that begs the question on how much is this console going to cost? Because... I mean,
the other thing is, it's marketed. So in the releases I've seen, it doesn't say 8K. It says 8K TV support, which might be some kind of like upscaling or something for an 8K TV. Which it might just be kind of like a scaling thing, not actually an 8K resolution. Which at that point, your frames isn't so much of an issue. I mean, it's basically just kind of saying to people like, oh yeah, you've got an 8K TV. You're definitely going to buy a console because why the hell else have you got an 8K TV?
Who has 8K TVs? Who has these?
Rich people.
Yeah.
Look at them.
Saw one article of course, speculation of the price point being between like $500 to $600. But that was just one article, and it's just like one thing.
The Switch is
it was
like
like
$300 still.
Well,
it was like $599, so I just
we
rounded
do
up,
know
but...
that Sony aren't afraid to sell a console at a loss. They have done this before. They have sold consoles at loss. I mean, in fact, the PlayStation 3 was sold at a loss. So we know they're not afraid to do that, but I don't feel like they're going to want to do that. The thing that concerns me is in this era of, gaming now, we don't seem to be getting as many big AAA games that aren't live services and all that rubbish. We don't seem to be getting as many. Now, I will say that the PlayStation 4 has had some fantastic exclusives. There has been some great ones. People love God of War, Spider-Man.
Rise Zero Dawn.
Yeah, exactly. We definitely still have these great exclusives that are going to sell these consoles without a doubt. I mean, The Last of Us 2 will probably sell more PlayStation 5s than anything else. But I still think that it's getting harder for these companies to make money like they used to, especially when I can buy these games on my PC. And for me, if my PC is more powerful than a PlayStation 5, which it is, I'm going to prefer to play it on my PC. And I think a lot of people are going that way. I feel like consoles are in a really tricky position where their main selling point used to be, for me anyway, you used to put a disc in and go. And that was it. Whereas with PC, especially, 10 years ago, PC was a lot of faff. You had to, you're looking at patches and you're looking at going to websites to download stuff and all of this kind of stuff. Whereas with a PlayStation or an Xbox or whatever, you could put a disc in, you went and you go. But even now with the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, it's not that simple. You've got day one patches, you've got forced updates, you have to be online. You've got all of these things that make me just go like, why bother? Just buy a PC.
Yeah, I haven't had a console since like PlayStation 2, and so when I got the PlayStation 4 and I opened it up, I didn't think too much about it. I put the Spider-Man in and I had to actually download the whole game, and I sat there and I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And with my internet, it took about 3 or 4 hours.
Well, with the PlayStation and Xbox, the downloads take even longer than Steam does because they throttle the download. So, and you go through the PlayStation servers as well as your internet. So, I can download a 60 gig game on my PC in 10 minutes. 60 gig game on my PlayStation is a couple of hours sometimes. So it's like, again, another reason why I'm like,
I think Red Dead, I had to leave it overnight.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying. And there's no option. You can't be like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to put it in play. No, you have to download
that was super frustrating. I didn't think about that.
And this is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not trying to rag on anybody. I'm not trying to start like a PC versus console or anything. I'm just, from a business standpoint, I feel like every year we have more and more people go, well, every time these consoles get more expensive, every time these consoles come out with all of these extra features that I don't want, like the Xbox coming out with no disc drive, people are like, I'd just rather go to PC. And especially people that have both, I feel like we're having less and less reason to even bother with the consoles. What do you guys think about that? Do you think I'm being too harsh?
No, I mean, I think there's many of reasons to get a console. The main reason I personally got the console is, one, I enjoyed the PlayStation, so it was an option, so we got it. But also most games you can pause them, you can put them down, and with having the kid, it was super important for us to still have games that we can play, but you can pause and walk away from it. I can sit down upstairs on the TV, like with him on the floor next to me, and still be able to play games. So personally, that's kind of why it went that way. It's easier for me to sit like on the couch with him rather than sit at the computer and everything. But I mean, I'm a small minority in that, I feel like. So
no, so I agree with you. I really prefer a console to be hooked up in my living room when I can play it on the couch and I can go in there, play it for an hour or two, whatever, and then go to bed. I like, one thing that I feel like you brought up an interesting point is I feel like what consoles need to be doing, and this is just a grumpy business acumen number one, but I feel like they need to be more pushing like local play, because that is one thing that a console, in my opinion, does far better than a PC. Now, yeah, absolutely, you can plug 2 controllers into your PC and there's a lot of couch co-op games and stuff, but generally speaking, a PC is at a desk, right? So you might not have the room for 2 chairs, or you might not have 2 chairs or whatever, Now you got to think about headsets. If you're using a headset, you need 2 headsets. How are you going to plug 2 of them in a PC? So for me, like, a console has that advantage if it's hooked up to your TV in your living room and you've got friends coming over, like 4 of them or whatever, or 3 of them, whatever, you can all just grab a controller and play together. And that was one of the things that I used to love. I mean, like Halo was a good example of this. I used to buy every Halo game ever up until Halo 5. I haven't even done any since Halo 5. I hated 5. Anyway, my friends would come over and we would all play around my Xbox. So I would own the game, I would own the Xbox, and I would own the controllers, but they could come over and play, and we would all play Halo together on the same TV, local co-op. And I feel like games like don't do that anymore, or don't even bother about that anymore. And I'm like, that was one of the main advantages of a console for me.
Mm-hmm. It's sad, really. It really is sad.
It is. I mean, we're more online connected than ever, but no one comes around and plays Halo with me anymore.
Yeah. I'll come around, Grumps. We'll play some Halo.
I mean, do I still have
Overcooked.
360?
is
Oh yeah.
a game that you can play co-op and you can be 4 players, and it is fun. But when you sit there and you're like, I don't want to play alone, you can like
Yeah.
go online, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Like,
It's not.
When you can sit in the couch and be like, seriously, where's the pasta? I need the pasta. Where is it?
Exactly.
Those
I
are
mean,
good.
there's that, you used to get you bring snacks and drinks, and usually if you were the one providing the console, the other people would provide the snacks and drinks. That was like the thing. And then when you got a little bit older, then it delved into beers, and then the games got way more fun because drunk co-op is way more fun than sober co-op, unless you're under the age of your legal area wherever you live, in which case don't drink. But yeah, it's I feel like we're missing that era, and I feel like we're going off on a right grumpy old back in the day rant. But it's true, we play, everything's online now, and so many games like Fortnite are bringing the whole world together, yet we don't seem to have that console in your front room feeling as much anymore, and that's what I think is a real shame.
Yeah, I do miss it. I'm trying to bring it back. I've said to you before, Grumps, like I'm gonna start doing like couch co-op streams. I've done it before where I've literally set my living room up. We have a big projector in there that goes onto the wall, and I'm just going to mic it up, cam it out, and I'm just going to be like, we can still sit in rooms and play games, guys. We can do it.
Did you see
nice.
those guys who projected, I think it was Super Smash Brothers, onto the side of a building out of their...
Oh yeah, I did see a picture of that, yeah.
I love that kind of shit, Like, that's what I'm talking about, that kind of like, not necessarily projection on the side of a building, but that kind of like, we're going to play together in the same room. And,
I mean, that's what, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Go ahead. I always speak over everybody. Go ahead.
No, it was like a New Year's Eve. Like we had another couple come over, and we played Smash like the whole night until like midnight. And we just sat there and ate food and everything. And it was nice. It was a different way to come in. And that's what our Switch has become, honestly. We don't use it. I have Stardew, but it's definitely like Mario Kart and Overcooked. And so when people come over, we have that option. But
100%.
Like this Easter, it was The Gathering for Norwegian people watching. You guys know what I'm talking about.
The Gathering.
The Gathering.
The Norwegian Gathering.
The Gathering. It's 5 days when you're locked inside a huge arena. A skating arena. No,
Norwegian Hunger
a
Games.
skating ring, a huge skating ring, like the Olympic skating ring here in Norway. And
is that a gaming event, or is that?
It's a gaming event.
Yeah.
It's a huge LAN party with cosplay competitions, gaming like PUBG competitions, Fortnite competition, Minecraft, you name it, competition. Like there's so many competitions, and actually there's some people from the UK that are. One person I know of drove all the way from Wales to Norway to participate. He drove through the Netherlands and Denmark and Germany and all that.
Yeah.
He came to come here. And
the worst thing is he would have had to driven through London as well. That's the worst thing.
I don't know that.
Rip them. Well, you'd have to go through the channel, so you'd have to go through London. So
it's like Liverpool and ferry over.
Yeah, possibly. You could have ferried it. Yeah,
we've got real off topic now.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, but
you drive to Norway.
But the night before the doors open, people are starting to gather up because they have driven a long way and they don't want to stress during the day when they're setting up their computers and their shelves and everything. And this year there was someone actually having this huge piece of cloth they had on their van. They had a projector. They had first a Disney marathon with Lion King, Brave, and Toy Story 1 and 2. Then they had a Mario Party tournament and a Mario Kart tournament.
Nice.
And everyone was sitting outside playing games with campfire and blankets and everything.
I've heard of the outside. Is that a Norwegian thing?
I've heard we have that here.
No, we don't. I'm pretty sure we don't have that in England. But no, yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is one of the reasons why anyone who is a long-term follower of me knows that one of my like life goals, one of my like dreams, as sappy as that is to have, is to do this kind of content with other people in an office, because that's when you can do those kind of things, those, LAN party streams or those playing the same game around the console streams. And I don't know, I find them so much fun. And I feel like this is what PlayStation 5 needs to, I feel like all consoles need to be trying to get this back, but I just don't think they're bothered. I think they're more bothered about selling you digital copies of stuff now. And
they sell you the PlayStation with one controller, so you have to go out and buy more. So they're not trying to make it like a family or
It was one
Again,
of the things that I
another
really
advantage of
liked
the
about,
Switch.
I really liked about Overcooked 1. Overcooked 1 came with no online co-op. And basically, if you're playing solo, it's almost just like undoable.
Yeah.
Undoable, not the right word. Unachievable. But like, I basically bought it for, there's a big LAN that happens in England called Insomnia. It's up in Birmingham. It used to be Coventry. It's now Birmingham. And I bought Overcooked literally to sit and play at Insomnia, because you're effectively in like what looks like an aircraft hangar, and there's just rows and rows and rows of desks. And I had 4 controllers set up to my PC. I bought it on Steam, downloaded it before we went away for the weekend. And we sat there, and I go with like a group of 15 or 16 people every year. And we literally sat there. If someone dropped out, we would just be like, does anyone want to play some Overcooked? Anyone fancy it? And just every time, because we ended up with this huge crowd of people just watching it. Like, you're there with your PC and your friends and stuff, and you're like, those guys are playing couch co-op. It's like, I've got to watch. I need to see.
You're not talking
so
about
true.
the gathering? Sounds so familiar.
Yeah, it's effectively the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, they've got a big gaming expo hall and stuff like that, but like
I mean,
they do it twice a year.
You say
Yeah.
it's effective. Well, you say it's effectively in an aircraft hangar. It pretty much is in an aircraft hangar.
Yeah.
It's in the NEC, right? The NEC in
Yeah,
Birmingham.
yeah, it's in the NEC
which
one.
is
so-
that's where I went for EGX. It basically is the airport, like repurposed for conventions and
yeah.
things.
The halls are massive,
Yeah,
and
they are.
they do indoor camping. So they have like it's like 2 hangars for the LAN hall, a hangar for the expo, and then there's like a hangar just full of tents that you go and sleep in. And like I started going years ago, and I've been to almost every single one since. I was just like, I was hooked from day one. I was like, I need to do this more.
When is it this year? Because I'm going to try and go, but it all depends on money.
It's always bank holiday, so it's August bank holiday.
Oh
this
yeah,
year.
no, I won't be able to
think
afford
it's
it.
towards the end.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, not that close. What's happening
Easter.
in October?
I don't know. They used to do a winter one, but they stopped it.
Yeah.
Because it actually wasn't the company. The company were happy to do it. It was the NEC. We're just like, no, we don't want.
Yeah.
We don't want to run the winter one anymore. Which I really like the winter one, because it was like way more. There was a lot less people. The expo hall was a bit smaller, but it was better for just meeting people and just networking and meeting other gamers.
Yeah. Which, if you're going to go to big event like that, you might as well try and meet some new people. But does anyone have anything else to talk about the PlayStation 5 before we move on to WoW? I mean, we pretty much all... Again, I'm a little bit biased because I am a PC master race, but I think, I feel like PlayStation 5, I'll probably get it if I can afford it at the time, but that'll be mainly for work. So otherwise, I have no interest in it. I'm like, nah. Well, it depends. Can I get The Last of Us on PS4? Because that'll be the only thing that'll make me get a PS5, is The Last of Us. So,
I don't know.
Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
yeah,
If I can
wasn't
get that
the
on
biggest fan of
PS4,
Horizon. It was
I
alright.
I was sold. I was
Yeah.
sold. It was so amazing, and I didn't buy the PlayStation for Horizon, but I got it for Horizon.
Yeah.
My ex-boyfriend gave it to me.
I
kind
do
of
love Aloy though. It's the only Funko Pop that I ever opened. I have it right here. I have an Aloy Funko.
Should we
But-
just
I
do-
have. Okay.
Should we all do Funkos? I got Batman.
I can see one in Turtle's background. I can see one there.
I, got, like,
It's the
I can't
only
really
one
see
I've
much
opened.
because the background. There you go. I got a
There
couple
you go.
going on.
Aloy.
Oh, we match. We match. Although
Yeah,
mine's
Batman can live
overexposed.
there now. You definitely can't see him.
Yeah.
But
gotta
he's
watch her.
sneaky. Sneaky.
Oh, he is.
Batman.
And I have this one here, the Eclipse Warrior,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then
you
I
got a load of
have.
the Horizon ones.
I got all of them.
You're a big fan.
The Aaron one is downstairs. I just don't want to go and get it.
No, that's fine. We're going to show and tell again, second week in a row.
Well,
But no,
yeah, last time around, we were like, I've got to get something from the basement. We're just like, bye.
if you didn't check out last week's podcast, go and check it out. She was so excited, bless her. She was showing off her retro stuff, like her light gun and stuff from
Aw.
years ago. We had like before the podcast last week, we had a big chat about it, so we were already kind of like nostalgic feeling last week. It was very sappy. But yeah, WoW Classic. Next topic we want to talk about, WoW Classic, because this is something that I have flip-flopped on for months now, because let me delve in to my history with WoW. All right, Grumpy time. You guys just shut up, right? We're going history time with Grumpy.
Should we take a break? We're like,
Yeah, do what you want. Do what you want. At this point, I'm not bothered, right? This is my podcast. No, I'm kidding. But anyway, so I played WoW from TBC. So I'm not a vanilla baby. I played in TBC and I played for 12 years, all the way through until BFA. I had breaks and I had, gaps, but I played every expansion launch ever. I used to take time off for expansion launches, not even kidding. I used to ask my work if I could have like a week off, because I know I did for Wrath.
a week's a long time for an
Yeah, no, I'm about to say a week. It's
Nope,
Like
I
a
don't.
couple of days.
Yep, nope. I took the week. That's what I used to do. I used to take the week because the first couple of days were always like a shit show anyway. And then after that, I was hardcore leveling and I would hit my max level cap, maybe do an ult, and that was it. That was like my favorite gaming events for me was WoW expansion launches. But anyway, I played all the way through. I played all the way through TBC. I played through Wrath. I heroic raided in Wrath. Cataclysm, my raid guild quit, so I went into PvP, and after that, like, the game started to go slowly downhill for me. Like, the game got better, but the world got worse, and really, it all built up to Legion being alright. It was an okay game, and it was not the same game that I played back in TBC. And so I started streaming. When I very, very first started streaming, the main game that I played was World of Warcraft. This was when Legion was still around, and I streamed it 5 days a week for months, and I kept saying to people, I think BFA is going to be a disappointment. I said I think it's going to be bad. With the way that Blizzard were going at the time, this was when a lot of people were starting to twig that Blizzard weren't the same company that they used to be. They're basically Activision now. They're not Blizzard like they used to be. And so I was starting to get really frustrated with Blizzard. I was starting to get really frustrated with WoW. I found WoW to be very boring and repetitive. It was more RNG based, and it felt like they were desperate to keep you logging in every day rather than giving you good content to play and enjoy like they used to. And so it came to a point of where I said, if BFA doesn't wow me, I'm done with WoW. And everyone was like, no, you're just being grumpy, oh, you're just trying to be a snowflake. And I was like, no, seriously, like, Legion did not impress me. So if BFA doesn't wow me out of the gate, I'm probably done with WoW. And BFA came out of the gate, and it didn't wow me. It really didn't. In fact, it did the opposite. It really, really underwhelmed me. So in conjunction with BFA launch underwhelming me, and with Blizzard being a company that I started to really, I'm not going to say that I despise Blizzard, but a company that I am so critical of because of the decisions they make with loot boxes and microtransactions and monetization, and especially with the last BlizzCon, with some of their decisions they made about the PC gaming industry. I'm not a fan of them. And so I quit. I quit completely cold turkey. I quit about a week into BFA, and I was like, no, I'm done. No more. And I transitioned my channel from a WoW channel with an occasional side of variety over to a full variety channel. And honestly, I haven't looked back. Like, I get every now and again, I get a bit like nostalgic and be like, do I want to play a bit of WoW? And then I'm like, no, I don't really want to do it. So knowing this is my history with WoW, Classic has been announced for a while now. Classic has been announced for well over a year. We've known about it. It's been coming out. And when my hype for BFA died and I went, I'm done, I just lost my interest in Classic as well. I was like, I don't really care. I was just so sort of disappointed with WoW at the time that I was just like, meh. But recently, I've been looking at WoW Classic, and I'm starting to get that itch again. I'm starting to get that itch. I look at Classic. I look at Classic, and I'm like, make Azeroth great again. Make Azeroth great again. So what about you guys? Do you guys want to, who has played WoW for first off, and what are your experiences with WoW? Like, you guys played. Snoopy's the only one who hasn't played WoW. Well, that's okay. You can be the side of the voice of somebody who doesn't play WoW. You can be the devil's advocate.
The voice of reason.
Yeah. Well, Turtle, you again, we met in WoW, Turtle. We met when we were both streaming WoW, so that kind of brought us together. So why don't you tell us about how did you start playing WoW?
Sorry, my cat knocked my camera over.
I was like, earthquakes?
We're going to leave it. It's going to happen. I started playing because, funny enough, my ex was really, really into, we were dating at the time, really, really into it. So much so that he would pretty much ignore me and play WoW. So
you were one of the WoW wives. You were one of the WoW wives. Oh my god.
I've definitely been in one of those relationships, and I was the one playing the WoW.
Same.
Oh yeah. I was like, if you're gonna ignore me, I'll just go ahead and play WoW with you. You can't leave. No, but I ended up playing, and I think it was around 2011. I forget exactly. It was in the middle of expansion drops. I forget, sometime around Panda. But I got into it, and we ended up breaking up. I fell off of it. I got with my husband now, and he has played since vanilla, so I kind of brought him back into it, and got really, really into it for 2 years. Didn't so much raid, but I did a lot of PvP. Was really into PvP, and then slowly kind of died off after BFA. It just wasn't the same. But for Classic, I am excited since I didn't get a chance to play it. He's overly excited because I like nostalgia all the way. He played it since launch, pretty much. So he's been researching pretty much 24/7 on how to level the fastest again. it's getting a little problem. I'm like, you need to stop.
When it
Okay.
comes to vanilla leveling, there is no leveling faster.
I know.
I started playing WoW in about 2004, 2005, which is the year it came out.
Yeah.
So I played in vanilla for a long time, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to classic. I probably won't play it. There's just so much like quality of life stuff that came into the game later on. I don't think I'll ever go back. Like
100%.
at the time, I didn't I say I didn't realize, but like at the time, like sometimes, so say you finish like questing an area and you're like, oh, the next place I have to go is like over here on like the other end of a continent, and it's like, oh, I'm level 40, so I have the first mount that you get if you can afford it, because the riding skills and the mounts and stuff were damn expensive.
It took me weeks to get my level 60 mount, my warlock. It took me ages because making gold back then was so tough. Like 100 gold was like a big deal back then. Like
yeah.
But like just the introduction of like the LFG system, because before you just had to run to dungeons. That was it. If you want to, like, you had to send. Say you had like 4 people for a like a dungeon run in like Dead Mines. You had to send someone off to Stormwind, so they go running off. Bearing in mind you're level 20, so they're at walking speed. So you walk to the nearest taxi up to Stormwind. You go into like trade chat. And it's like, oh, we're looking for a tank, and then that could be 20-25 minutes. Then the tank has to get from wherever they are to wherever you are, and it's just like, cool, this is our life now. But yeah, so I'm probably not going to go back to it because it was slow. My housemate has been prepping for Classic World of Warcraft by playing like a private server that's like classic mode. He's been playing his character for 14 hours, and I think he's like level 12.
Yeah,
like it's
which in
slow.
modern WoW, I can get to level 10 in less than an hour. And that's just playing casually. If I really, really tried, I could probably get to level 20 in around an hour and a half, which is...
Like, you have heirlooms, you have...
there's like an heirloom boosts. And
there's an heirloom mount as well.
Yeah,
so
there's a little motorbike one. The chauffeured whatever.
Yeah. Chauffeured hog ride or all that stuff like that. So there's a lot of like just little quality of life stuff that is in modern WoW has been in for a while.
This is the big argument though, isn't it? Because so here's the thing. So WoW back when it originally launched was one of the greatest MMOs of all time, but it was also very rough around the edges in a lot of ways. And over the years, they have absolutely improved it. And in a lot of ways, BFA is better than vanilla. In a lot of ways, you know, there are a lot of improvements that have been made. Like you say, a lot of quality of life things, but the argument here is that a lot of those quality of life things that have made the game easier have also taken away from a lot of what made WoW great in the first place, which was you had to work together with other people. You had to know people on your server, or you at least, you know, back in the day, the servers were completely separate. There was no cross-realm, cross-server, any of that rubbish. I think you could still transfer, but you had to pay for that. That was it. So... whereas with WoW now, if you're running out in the world, you get sharded, which means that somebody else in that zone could be from a completely different server than you are. And it depends on population and it depends on where you are. And so back in the day, you used to run across, if you came across another person, you knew that they were on your server and it was likely that you would see them again, whether that be in Orgrimmar or one of the inferior cities that the Alliance have, anything like that. You know, you would possibly see them again. And it quite often happened that if somebody helped you and you helped them back, because that was the thing that you did back in, again, I started in TBC, but it was still exactly the same in the old world. The old world got wrecked in Kata. So back in TBC, you leveled pretty much through the vanilla leveling system up until you got to Outland. So if you came across a person in the world, because there was no mob tagging back then, if you tagged a mob, only you could loot it, only you could get experience for it. So if you saw somebody leveling, it was much more likely that you go, hey, you want to level together? And then you would level together, and then you might even become friends, and then you'd see them again later on, and they'd be like, oh, hi, I remember you. You were the guy that was really crap at leveling, or whatever. So you had all of this stuff that was kind of a product of the game not being perfect. And so people came together to overcome it. It was almost like this sort of Dark Souls. It wasn't like difficult as Dark Souls, but it was almost kind of like this Dark Souls community feel. It's like everyone went through that struggle, so you all understood. You know, no one was sat there laughing when you die at the first boss on Dark Souls, because you've all been there. And it was the same kind of thing. And modern WoW doesn't have that. And this is the big draw for me with Classic. I want that feeling back. I want that world of Warcraft, because at the moment it might as well be multiverse of Warcraft, right? Because you just don't feel like you know anybody. You can't get to know people on your server. You can't remember the person. People don't even group up anymore, because it's quicker to just move on and kill the mobs yourself than it is to accept that invite. Whereas back then, you know, if you found somebody out in the world, helping them, and you've got to remember as well, on the other side of that, if you were on a PvP server like I was, grouping up was safer, because if there was two of you and one of them, they were less likely to attack you. So all of these, like, really, you know, now you can just fly away on your mount, be like, bye. But like all of these, like, real sort of, you know, inconvenient things, what I think actually made World of Warcraft a really great world and community. Do we have a special guest?
I don't think he'll be very happy. If you guys want to see him, I can bring him in, but he's not
entirely up to you. If you want to bring podcast baby, that'll be the first baby on the podcast, I think.
It would be the first.
He might be a little angry. I might have to go get him anyways.
No problem. We said we might have to have an interrupted schedule today, but it's no.
Let me see what I can do with him.
Do what you need to do.
Also, because he's screaming.
I'll continue to talk until you come back. But yeah, Snoopy, I know you've not played World of Warcraft. Have you played any MMOs? Have you played any MMOs?
I have
at all?
played Guild Wars 2, and I'm currently trying out Final Fantasy 14. I think it is.
So you played MMOs on Guild Wars 2. I've played Guild Wars 2 as well. Do you group up with people, or do you play by yourself in general? Like, which one do you do?
I want to group up with people. Like, I started to play Guild Wars 2 because a lot of my friends played it. So I tried to play when they were playing, but usually ended up with just being me. And that, to be honest, that just bores me.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't play with people, I can't cooperate and have fun and joke around and be like, yeah, look at me, I glitched.
Exactly.
Here. This looks hilarious.
Guild Wars
It's
2.
so fun.
I like Guild Wars 2, but Guild Wars 2 has a lot of problems that modern WoW does. I feel like most modern MMOs have this exact same problem, which is they want to be accessible to everybody. They want everybody to be able to play it, and that includes solo players. And so over the years, these MMOs, these modern MMOs, in my opinion, have become so accessible to solo players that you don't need to group up, so you don't bother.
It's a baby.
We have a baby! We have a baby!
It's a very small baby.
Well, 11 weeks.
I forget how small they get.
I forget.
I think they just come out like 4 foot or something like that.
Baby therapy.
Oh, you're upset. I know.
Oh.
Oh, bless his cottons.
So this is... I'm going to forget his name again. Oliver?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Are we allowed to say it on the podcast? I can edit it out if we're not allowed to say it on the podcast.
No,
Okay,
no.
I just want to see bleep it.
This is... beep.
Redacted.
He's so cute. Look at him. He's a little mini person.
It is a very small person.
This is where the grumpy Brit becomes the sappy Brit. No more of that.
He's like,
he's taking my brand away. He looks grumpier than I do.
That's true.
What did I do?
You got competition with Grumpy.
That's it. I'm gonna have to change my branding. Okay. The mildly grumpy Brit.
But the big question is, Toe, you're gonna get him gaming.
Oh yeah, no, he's already got Horde. He's ready.
You have to have them gaming. It has to happen.
As long as you don't get him into Blood Elves, that's fine.
Oh well,
I don't know why I hate Blood Elves so much.
What's wrong with Blood Elves?
I just don't like Blood Elves. I think they're the weirdest character model.
While we have a baby intermission, I have a question that I'm going to ask all of you, including you, Snoopy. Everyone's going to answer this question. You have to answer it in one word and one word only. And this is just to trigger the internet because I want to trigger some people. One word only. Horde or Alliance? Elliott, go.
Wait, no, let everyone else go first.
Horde.
Right. Horde. Snoopy, Horde or Alliance? You have to pick. Horde. Three for Horde. Elliott, go. You really want to say Horde, don't you?
You gotta.
I currently play Horde, but I was an Alliance player for so long. And Dark Iron Dwarves. I can't do it in one word. I'm too conflicted.
One word. Horde or Alliance? You got to pick. You have to pick.
For the Horde.
We have four. We literally have 4. The Horde. Hey, I'm on fire with the puns today. But yeah, I feel like going back to the original, now that we've triggered, 50% of the internet, I feel like, oh, and by the way, full disclosure, when I started on an RP PvP server, so I couldn't play Alliance because my friends who got me into the game played Horde. I was stuck with Horde, but I actually came to really like the Horde. But I now play a little bit of both. I play Alliance now and again. I'm not really one of those Horde versus Alliance dudes. You play what you want. It's not that big of a deal unless you're going to play Classic and you're going to play on a PvP server, in which case you got to pick one, which I will pick Horde. But no, I feel like I feel like a lot of people are being very sort of critical of classic WoW, and my opinion on this one is it's something that we didn't have before, that we are now getting, and it's something that we don't have to pay for, and it is part of our subscription cost. So you can be as critical as you want, like you should be as critical as you want, but at the end of the day, like, does it matter how many people are going to play it, or does it matter, you know, like how successful it's going to be? Like it's a free thing. I mean, it's not free, you're paying for it with your sub, but it's being added on top of your sub. So if you're already subbed to WoW, it's a bonus, you know, and if you're going to come back to WoW and sub because of it, well, that's your choice. No one's forcing you to do it. So I'm definitely going to be trying it. I know for a fact I'm going to be trying it. And
you're
if
going to pay out for that sub, you're going to have a crack.
Yeah, it's bringing me back.
Whether, I don't know whether that, because there's every now and then when they brought features out, they've said to people like, do you want a free month? You used to play, you can have a free month, like see if you like the new feature. If they do that, I might take the free month and try it out. I really can't see me enjoying Classic because, like I said, I played in Classic. Stuff like I was at a point where, because I played from basically launch, like I got to a point, I played endgame Classic and it was so brutal. Like, and like the endgame raids, you could spend like 2 evenings just clearing trash before you even got to bosses.
Well, there's been a really interesting theory that I'm glad that you said that, because I want to bring this up. This is a theory. It was on I can't remember where I heard the theory, but it's really, I really kind of feel like there's a point to it. The theory is that like WoW Classic or WoW Vanilla was a lot more difficult than, you know, current raiding and things, but not because of why you think. So the theory says that one of the big reasons why it was more difficult back then was, well, a few of the reasons why was people had bad internet, people had bad computers, a lot of people weren't allowed subscriptions for games like World of Warcraft, so you were limited to a bit more of an older audience. And I'm not saying older people can't play games as well as younger people, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a lot of these people didn't have time to do things like raiding because they had families and things like that. And so you had all of these like different sort of variables that made it so you can't, most people and most guilds that wanted to raid kind of just went with who they had. Whereas now in modern WoW, they go with the best people. Like people do things like, God, they do like tryouts and like they will take you to a raid and see how you perform and look at the stats and all that kind of thing. Whereas apparently back in vanilla, it was more as like, oh, we have 10 people, let's go. Or, you know, especially in the bigger raids, it was like 40-man raids back in vanilla, wasn't there? In which case it was literally like, can we even get 40 people together? Because if we can't, we don't raid, you know?
So it's only more recently they brought in like flex raids as well. So they made it so if you go into a 10-man with 8 men, it adjusted for that as as well.
Yeah. So when I started, I was a 10-man. Well, when I started raiding in Wrath, it was 10-man heroic. And even then in Wrath of the Lich King, which was the 3rd expansion, there was definitely an element of we take the 10 best people and anybody left over forms the B team. Yeah. And, you know, the A team or the first team, whatever you want to call them, they were priority, and the B team raids when they can and if they can. And that was more like an alt, you know, we'd take our alts along so we could help that out. But it was all about that main team. And the best people got on the main team. And it was as simple as that. You had to prove yourself. Whereas apparently in Classic, it was much more of a, like, we roll with what we've got, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be really interesting to see how the modern, you know, WoW community or the modern gamer base or whatever you want to call the gaming community, how we tackle Classic. And I feel like a lot of these like problems are going to be mitigated by the increased player base, because I feel like a lot of people, you know, especially a lot of people are going to flood back to Classic just because it's the hype thing. So I think a lot of streamers are going to go back to Classic, even if it's just for a few months, right? Think about that. All of those extra people playing Classic for a few months. What's that going to do to the economy? Is that going to make gold farm? Like, because gold farming, I don't think was as big as a thing back in Classic. Now, gold farming, there's loads of people that literally stream gold farming because that's their niche. So there's going to be gold farmers. Is that going to affect the economy? Does that mean people are going to get their mounts easier? You know, is the auction house is going to have more stuff on it because more people know about crafting now than they used to? So there's all of these variables where I think it's going to be different. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that, like you said before, quality of life is going to be tough, but I think the game isn't going to be as hard as some people are expecting. I think raids are going to get cleared. I think it's going to happen. I think people are going to figure out, you know, and I think as well, on top of that, I think that element of challenge is going to be the big draw for a lot of people. You know, we have these Dark Souls communities that are super solid. You know, I mean, every time you talk about Bloodborne and Sekiro that you've played, you know, you say that they're a good, solid community. People that love those style of games. Are they going to enjoy Classic WoW? Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, the one thing that I am looking forward to seeing back again is the old talent system, because I miss the old talent system so much. The new one is so naff. I do. Like you get 3 or 4 levels up, and it's like, oh, here's a thing that might proc every now and then, or like the old talents were so much more impactful. powerful.
Yeah.
I was a
Well,
much bigger.
one of the big criticisms of the old talent tree system was that there were perks that were just you have to take that one, and there was always like a build that was just statistically better, and you had to take that because if you wanted to raid, you needed that 1%, and that's where this idea of min maxing came. And I feel like they tried to mitigate that in Modern WoW and make it so that you could play a little bit how you wanted, not how you had to. But what that's ended up doing is making all of these perks very sort of talents. You can tell I play a lot of Dead by Daylight, can't you? Making these talents very like generic and bland because they don't want to make one be super powerful and great, because if they do that, then they've got to balance the other two. And so they kind of made them a little bit more flavorful. But yeah, no, I do as well. I miss the old talent tree system. I'm really looking forward to delving into some characters that I didn't play back then. Because when I started, I mainly played Warlock until it was only until Wrath that I really started playing Paladin. So I'm really looking forward to going back and playing Warrior as I'm looking forward to playing a Warrior tank because I never leveled as a tank back then. I was leveled as DPS, like range DPS. So I'm really looking forward to going back to, that kind of stuff. I'm like kind of really excited for Classic, which is, if you'd have asked me this 6 months ago, I don't think I would have said I was going to get excited for it, honestly.
Fair.
I do feel like this is the perfect time for Classic. I feel like, WoW is as meh as it's ever been. Modern WoW, retail WoW has been as meh as it's ever been. Well, I mean, just look at the Twitch. Like a lot of people have quit. I mean, right now, Twitch on Twitch, WoW is right back up there again because everyone's watching the Classic beta. It was number 2 on Twitch yesterday. If I have a quick look over now in the Twitch directory, let's have a see how.
It's down to 5 now, but
that's still not bad though. It's usually in the Twitch directory, it's always League of Legends, Fortnite, PUBG. Usually Grand Theft Auto with
what's going on up there?
Well, with the RP stuff, but yeah, so it's currently sat at 78.4 thousand viewers, which only a month ago it was nowhere near that. So people clearly are excited for Classic. People are coming back for it. People are going to be playing it, and I'm going to be one of them. So very, very interesting times. I think that's pretty much everything I want to talk about with Classic. I did see a video from Asmongold, which was pretty funny, where they did a stress test, and so everybody logged in, and there were more people in that login area than I have ever seen in Legion or BFA together in one place. Which obviously it's a stress test, and everyone was level 1. It's not what usually happens, but there were hundreds of people on screen, like so many. I remember that happening back in TBC. I remember World PvP back in TBC. Taran Mill was a huge thing where you would have hundreds of people fighting over Taran Mill. There was no reason for it. You didn't get anything for it. You didn't get any rewards.
Just having a scrap. Why not?
Yeah. I remember one of my favorite stories about World PvP was I was leveling up in Taran Mill. This is a genuine true story. I'm not making this up. I was leveling up in Taran Mill area, and I got ganked by a level, it would have been level 70 at the time because it would have been out, TBC. So I got ganked by a level 70. With ganking, by the way, if you're not aware of the term, it's where you get killed and then they kill you over and over again just to ruin your day. And so I called somebody in my guild at the time and was like, yo, can you come and help me out? This guy is he's annoying me. He's like, won't let me level up. Can you come and help me out? So like, luckily my guild member was like, yeah, sure, I'll come over and help you out. So my level 70 guild member came over and killed him. So then he brought his friend. So then we brought some more of our guild members, and then they brought some of their guild members. And I'm not making this up. Within like half an hour, we had this gigantic war because more guilds got involved. And we I've
seen it happen.
There was no reason for it. It was more of a like, I don't know, like you don't kill us, we kill you, and then it became a thing. And before you knew it, half the server was having a fight around Taran Mill. And you do not get that stuff in Modern WoW anymore. That stuff does not happen ever.
The thing I always miss now, which I've only just remembered now we're talking about huge battles, is people used to raid the opposite faction cities all the time.
Yeah,
like the number of times as like an ally, I've been running into like Undercity or Grimmer or something. And you just have like 2 guilds just get together and are like, right, we're just gonna go and kill Sylvanas because why not?
Yeah, because this was back before achievements were a thing. So there was no reason to do it. You didn't get anything for it. You didn't get any rewards. But people did it because it was fun, and they still do it now. Because there is an achievement now to kill all of the enemy factions, and you get a mount if you do it. So people still do it, but I've literally seen it happen where the Alliance will come into one of the hot cities, kill thing, and just leave, and people don't even bother fighting back because like, what's the point? I'm not getting any free gear for it, so why do I bother? And that's kind of the mentality now of modern WoW players, is if it doesn't give me an achievement, mount, or gear, I don't care, I'm not doing it, Welcome back.
I'm back.
Is Grumpy?
I heard my name, or I heard someone being grumpy.
Yeah, I was going to say, all I heard was Grumpy. I was like,
it's very confusing.
Referring to Grumpy, or?
But no, welcome back. I hope the little one is okay.
Yeah. He got some. He just grumps. He's
No,
a mini you.
That's fine. It's a mini me. Most children are, which is weird if you think about it. I'm basically a giant man baby, is what we're saying. But no, welcome back to Turtle. We just carried on the conversation about WoW, saying that I'm really excited for it. Elliott's not, but we were kind of reminiscing about, how you said you started in MOP, didn't you, Mr. Pandaria?
Sometime around there.
Yeah, so you kind of missed.
It was a weird. Yeah, I missed a lot by the time I actually got into there. I joined around the decline. If you want to be part of that.
Well, for me, my personal opinion, the golden era was vanilla to Wrath, and then anything after Wrath was downhill. For me, I think Cataclysm started the downtrend of a lot of things I didn't like. I really didn't like the old world being changed because that ruined a lot of my nostalgia. Even though, technically they were making graphics better and doing all this, and making some of the quests a bit more interesting, I just found that, you're taking this world that I've played in for years and now you just wrecked it. But yeah, so you said you're going to play Classic? You're going to try it out?
I will attempt to. Yes, definitely.
So will you be on European servers or American then?
No, I've always been on American servers, even though I've moved over to Europe. It's just easier that way.
That's fair.
So we don't have to change everything over.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to rebuy, but you lose everything. So I wouldn't have any of my tunes or anything like that.
I think League of Legends, if you want to play the other server, you have to make a completely new account. You have to make an American account.
WoW's weird because with retail WoW, you can still use your same account, but the client is slightly different. If you log into the American servers, you do need a separate sub, right? I feel
I don't know.
I feel like you do, because I know none of your achievements or anything like that transfers over, and the UI is slightly different as well between the retail European and American release. Yeah, the store's in a different place and stuff, which it just little weird changes like that, which I was like, what? But yeah, so that's Classic in a nutshell. I'm actually really excited for it. I'm excited to have an MMO again, which is weird because I've not really given a crap about MMOs for years now, if I'm being honest. So I want to talk about something else. Today. Again, this is going to be the Twitch segment of this. Now, if you're not interested in Twitch, that's absolutely fine. But it's kind of relevant to content creation in general. So if you are a YouTuber, if you're watching this video right now, if you make YouTube content, you might want to stick around for this bit, because we're talking about something that I've set up that is designed to help both Twitch streamers, YouTubers, DLive, Mixer streamers, whatever. If you're making content, this is designed to help you. But what this all stemmed from, and this is kind of relevant to all of us, as we are all Twitch streamers, or we have been, or we have streamed on Twitch. At the moment, Twitch is going through a little bit of a quiet patch, and what I mean a quiet patch is, generally speaking, not as many people are viewing Twitch as they were a few months ago around Christmas and before. And a lot of people have been talking about this. A lot of people have been really struggling with their viewer numbers, or their let's be honest, the money that they're making on Twitch or whatever. A lot of people have been really struggling, and a lot of people are quitting. I have noticed so many people quitting in this last month, more than I ever have done. And so one of the theories that why Twitch is just so quiet right now is because we're coming up to the end of the school year. People have got exams, people are leaving, university, they're graduating, they're looking for grad jobs. And on top of that, people are going outside more because it's becoming, it's becoming nicer weather. We're out of the winter now and it's becoming sunnier. So people are doing that outside thing, which again, I'm not sure how you do it, but you go through the front door or something and then you're out, and then it's like, I don't get it myself personally, but other people do it and they enjoy it. So, power to them. So we're in this weird position where lots of people are really struggling from the creator side of things. Viewers, they don't give a crap. They're doing what they want to do, as they should do. But the creators are kind of struggling right now. It's a real difficult time. And on top of that, if you're a gamer, if you're a game creator, doesn't seem to be the same sort of excitement as there was a couple of years ago. Games don't seem to be as hyped anymore. We have all of these releases that come out that end up just being trash, like Fallout 76 and Anthem, and other games that are just really underwhelming, and games that were great that aren't great. World of Warcraft, all of these kind of games that just seem to, I mean, is that just me? Is it just me that feels this way? Does anyone else? Am I just being grumpy?
I mean, I've definitely noticed, I'm in a weird spot with it because, I only made affiliate in November. I'm still in kind of obviously you have your early area of Twitch, and then you have a growth period. I'm kind of still in my little growth period. So I'm not really noticing, only because my numbers before, there was no real way of being able to tell from that to now, especially with you guys and with the networking that meeting other streamers and things. definitely helped me out an awful lot.
Good.
So actually, I'm still experiencing growth.
Yeah.
So I haven't noticed so much, but I think there's a lot of streamers who I know who used to sit like in the 50s, the 60s, 70s. They're definitely feeling it. Like a lot less like bits coming through. Like you're seeing less notifications pop up, so you're getting less new follows and things. Your numbers are down. I'm seeing it. I'm just not experiencing it.
Yeah. Which, you know, this is not for everybody. There are definitely people that are still growing and doing very, very well. But just generally speaking across the board, like the average person, there seems to be a little bit of a struggle right now. And, you know, if anybody just sat there thinking of like, oh, why do you care about how many views you've got? That's just a creator thing. That is something that you do as a content creator, especially if you're doing this full time, if you're doing this as a job, you look at those numbers and you try to make them bigger. That's literally what your job is. It is grow your channel. You know, no one wants to sit at 20 viewers for their whole life. I mean, some people are okay with that. If you're doing it for fun, you know, just want to stream and hang out and have fun, go for it. But for people that want to do this as a career, like, you need to see those numbers going up. And so when people can see those numbers going down, it can be very, very difficult to wrap your head around. And, you know, like, you guys are having break from Twitch, and everybody knows that if you have a break from Twitch, you come back, your numbers are lower than they were when you left. That's just generally a fact. It pretty much happens to everybody. You know, it doesn't matter if you have like a week off or a month off or 6 months off, you're going to have a dip in growth. And that's something that you have to kind of overcome. But for the people that are still on Twitch, a lot of people are kind of having that dip now. And a lot of people are struggling because it can feel like, you know, you think people are bored of you. You think like, well, why are people not turning up to my stream? Did I offend them? Am I boring now? Am I not doing enough? And this is what, you know, while I think a lot of people are quitting. And so because of this Twitch problem, I had to sit down and I had a thought. I had to rack my brain, like, what can I do to help? Not because I'm like some superhero who wears capes and stuff. It's, you know, if the boot fits. But because like, I feel like I have more time than a lot of people. I do this as my job. I do this full time at the moment anyway. And, you know, I'm constantly trying to improve myself. And I thought, well, I know for a fact that people have helped me in the past. And so I want to try and give a little bit of that back. So I thought, what could I do? What could I do to help them out? And so I had an idea to create I don't want to call it a company, but I've created a community and a YouTube channel called Creator Central. This is a little bit of a plug for my own stuff, so just deal with it. But Creator Central is something that I've set up. I set the Discord up with another streamer called Arrhythmia. I'll leave a link down in the description if you want to go and check out Arrhythmia. She's a great streamer. She does variety, lots of Final Fantasy content. So if you're a Final Fantasy fan, go and check her out. But we decided to create a Discord community together, and I know Elliott and in fact, we're all in it. We're all in Creator Central, aren't we? All of us. So yeah. This Discord server, which I don't know if I'm going to leave a link for the Discord server down below. I'm not sure yet, because this is for creators only. So to get in that server, you have to be creating some form of content, whether that's on Twitch, on YouTube, Mixer, DLive. I don't really care. As long as you're creating some form of content, this is a server designed to help you. And it's not a promotion server. It's literally for help. So it's for help and advice, tips, tricks. If you're struggling one day and you need help, that's what it's there for. So that's the plug. I've also made a YouTube channel on top of this, which I definitely will leave a link down to the YouTube channel below. So it's Creator Central. Again, I'll leave a link. What that YouTube channel is for tips and tricks. So it's for things like learning how to do things like, we have one video so far, which is how to get your first Twitch viewers. So if you're somebody who is thinking about Twitch or is doing Twitch streaming and you haven't got any viewers yet, that video is for you. But anyway, that's going to be there. I will leave a link to it below, but they're going to be completely separate to this YouTube channel. So this YouTube channel is staying gaming, completely gaming, all gaming related. And that channel is going to be for creators, and they're going to be completely separate. I don't even think there's going to be much cross promotion, honestly, apart from today. And after that, I don't think I'm going to really cross promote them all that much. Cause like I said, it's really difficult as a YouTuber. You've got to try and like stick to your niche. And for this channel, my audience or my target audience are gamers. You know, all of my content is gaming. I'm a gamer. I love gaming. I want to reach gamers. So I don't really want to start talking about like, you know, content creation tips and tricks. I mean, I do have one, when I was still trying to find my niche on YouTube, which I'm still trying to find my niche on YouTube, by the way. But when I was like trying to like just figure out what I wanted to do on YouTube, I did make a Twitch advice channel on the Twitch advice video on this channel. Didn't really do that well. But yeah, that is there. If you need that, if you are somebody who is a YouTuber or a Twitch streamer, maybe go and check it out. It might help you out. That's basically all I wanted to talk about in that segment, because it's cross promo. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to talk about the games. I'm here to talk about the games.
More gaming.
More gaming. Well, Twitch is a gaming platform, right? We don't have any other. We have nothing else that's not gaming on Twitch. There's no other categories. Gamers only on Twitch, right?
Oh yeah.
But no, Twitch started out as a gaming platform. It's not now. It's grown to more things than gaming, which is absolutely fine. I don't mind. In fact, I actually like the IRL category. Sorry, just chatting.
I like it. I get it.
Wandering around.
Like I like it too, but I get it. Like sometimes you don't want to sit there and play games. You actually just want to sit and chat and hang out. But all the I am gonna say previous cam girls, because there are cam girls that are coming over to Twitch and think that they can take over.
There are. I'm gonna put a nail in this conversation right now, right? If you're like, there are cam girls who are known cam girls who do work, who do come over to Twitch. That's fine. You have to stick with Twitch TOS. You have to stick with the terms of service. You absolutely have to. And if you don't, if you get caught not doing it, you'll get banned. It's as simple as that. There's always going to be people who overstep the mark, who try and do something for a little bit of fame or a little bit of money. But that happens in gaming, for God's sake. I mean, come on, some of the stuff I've seen people do in gaming streams where I'm just like, dude. Like, really? Yeah. Like you have to abide by the TOS. And if you get caught not abiding by the TOS, you will get banned. But things like in the just chatting, category on Twitch, I've seen things like one of my favorite streams I've ever watched. I remember, again, as a gamer, one of my favorite streams I've ever watched on Twitch was a guy in Japan just sat in a restaurant, just eating. And in fact, what he'd done is he'd set a target weight for the day. So he was trying to hit like a target weight. And so he was just eating and eating and eating till he got to that target weight. And so he got home after eating this giant meal in this restaurant. He got home and he weighed himself and he was like, I'm not heavy enough. So he just started like downing a milkshake and he was like, oh, I'm gonna be sick. But then he kept downing his milkshake. And I was like, I gotta be really careful with hand signals.
It's almost like a little bit of like kind of self-harm. It's kind of dancing on the line.
Yeah, the TOS on Twitch says you can't do anything that harms yourself. But I think he was all right. He was just trying to get to that weight.
I mean, it's funny. I enjoy like cooking streams a lot, and there's not enough cooking streams. I would love to watch more cooking streams.
I'll do some cooking streams. Why not?
There we go.
Exactly.
I wish if I had the way to do it, I probably would.
Yeah, you get like
I batch cook for the week anyway. I may as well stream it.
Yeah. Lots of creative streamers end up getting the apron, the Twitch apron, don't they? If you do it for long enough, a lot of them have had them. Yeah, this is the thing. Twitch is a great platform for that kind of stuff. I'm not going to get into like Twitch versus YouTube because they're both great platforms. I've been on YouTube for years, so
they're great platforms in their own way.
Exactly, they both have pros and cons. But I feel like if you're a very creative person, both platforms can offer you something, and you can offer something to them. And the idea that Twitch is only gaming is silly because, we have artists on there, we have ASMR on there, we have, like you said, cooking streams, we have people doing all sorts, like wood burning is another one. Like there's so many things on Twitch, and that's part of what draws a lot of people in. And so, yeah, I'm a big fan of all of those. I feel like gaming is a little bit struggling at the moment on both YouTube and Twitch. Gaming hasn't got the same hype as it did a couple of years ago, which I know this on YouTube because I look at the keywords and I look at the trends, and a lot of the gaming stuff is down on YouTube, which means not as many people are searching for it, not as many people are watching it. Maybe it's because they're all interested in Fortnite content, or maybe it's just because at the moment people haven't got time for gaming. I don't know. As we said,
had like a little war on gaming for a while, and I think that did not help.
No,
a lot of gaming content creators went elsewhere because they were just like, we can't monetize anymore, and like we've got this issue, that issue, and it's just like,
you're not wrong. There has been a lot of there's been a lot of problems. I mean, if we're gonna talk about YouTube, it's funny how I listen to a lot of creators struggle with YouTube and complain about YouTube and moan and gripe and all of this lot. And a lot of it was to do with the algorithm. There was two main camps of moaning on YouTube. There was the algorithm and then there was monetization. And what's really funny is because I've always been a watcher on YouTube, I've never been a creator up until really, I mean, I've been on YouTube for a year, but I've only really been creating content properly for, 2 months. Before that, everything I did was, it was like mainly Twitch content that I chopped up and just shoved on, and I tried to make it funny, but I didn't really like try to do well on YouTube. Like I didn't look at tags, I didn't look at, any of that kind of stuff. So it's only been the last couple of months that I've actually tried, and it coincides with doing stuff like this. The podcast is a good example, which the podcast at the moment is my most popular content on the channel. I can't seem to make anything be as popular as the podcast, which is wonderful because I love the podcast, and this project, this podcast is my baby. It is my little Oliver, right? It's my version of that. It's what I've wanted to do for years.
Yeah, a lot quieter though.
Yeah, 100%, a lot quieter. But no, it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'm really glad that it's working well. But yeah, it's my most popular content on YouTube. I can't, as of yet, nothing else seems to be as popular with the viewers. I mean, let me know down in the comments, by the way, if you think I'm wrong. If there's another video that you've loved even more than the podcast, let me know. But the numbers wise, the viewer numbers definitely seem to prove that people like the podcast more. So I forgot where I was going with that, but
I can say one thing though on the part that gaming is kind of going down. I think that like you see trailers on E3, for example. You see trailers to this awesome game, and you're like, oh my god, I gotta see what this is about. I gotta know what it is, and then it comes out and it's shit.
Yeah,
just plain shit.
100%.
It's a lot of things that are overhyped, and then when it comes out, it's like.
I think it's a combination of that. Every game wants to be Fortnite levels of success, but only Fortnite could be Fortnite levels of success. So every game's trying to chase that live service model now, which most gamers don't want, I feel. I feel like we're okay with a couple of live services. Like people are okay with Fortnite and PUBG, but not every game needs to be a live service. Fallout 76, Bethesda, what did you do? Why did you do that? Every game's trying to do that.
I'm going to ban you for talking about Fallout 76, because it gets you too excited. We're going to struggle to get you to sleep later. Like
I'm going to ban you from the podcast. But no, it's true. Like there's so much that I feel like a lot of gamers and YouTubers and Twitch streamers are the same, but a lot of gamers I feel are just really frustrated with the gaming industry right now. And it's not all it's not all like what I'm saying. It's not all just loot boxes. It's not all about that crap. It's about they want the best games ever, and they're promised the best games ever, and we're constantly given games that aren't the best games ever. And I mean, we talked about this on last week's episode where we talked about the games that we hate the most. I mean, I've been feeling this since Alien Colonial Marines. There have been so many disappointing games that have come out, and it's getting to a point now where it's really difficult to get excited about games because you're like, well, what if it turns out to be a Fallout or a sorry, I said Fallout 76 again. What if it turns out to be a 76 or an Anthem or an Alien Colonial Marines or one of the countless games that have come out in the last couple of years that have just been not that great. And here's the thing, right? I'm obviously the grumpy Brit. I know not everybody likes that. I know some people like to, they want to get excited about games, they want to be hyped, but even if I try to get hyped about video games, it's difficult for me now. It's difficult to get excited about games anymore. And I feel like a lot of people are feeling that. I feel like a lot of people are just
scared to be hyped for games because when they come out, they just disappoint me, and I literally sit there and cry
because you pay £50, $60 or whatever, your regional equivalent, and it's like, wow, like I could have saved my money.
I paid for this, and you give me crap. Wow, thank you.
And then you're asking for even more money with DLC. And the game doesn't work properly, so it's like, well, you can't get a refund, so great, like
shit. Like if you buy it on like here in Norway at least, if you buy it in CD format, you can go to GameStop and get it refunded. Yeah. But then again, you don't get full price; you get an ish price for it, depending on how popular it is, depending on how new it is, and a lot of things on it. But still, like I said, I'm scared. I'm scared to be hyped because I always get so damn disappointed. Like when I first saw the trailer for Batman Arkham Knight, for example, I have played every single Batman game that has come out, like Blackgate, you name it. And when I saw the trailer, I was like, shit, they ruined it. Great. And then now
Arkham
that
Knight
I'm
is a good
playing
example of I mean, even earlier games in that series that were great. I loved City. Like, Arkham Asylum was great, but I love City. I thought City was amazing. And then Night came out, and I was just like, what is this? What is this garbage?
Why did I pay for this?
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't what I was promised. Like, I don't remember what game it was. It was a PS4 game. I bought it, and I was, like, super hyped for it. And I was like, yes, I finally get to try it out. I finally get to play it myself. And then it was like, is that it? Yeah. Seriously?
That's how I felt with Alien Colonial Marines.
I feel like game marketing's been very much the same for a long time though. Like I remember like when I was a kid, like games were really, you had like these horrible blocky graphics, like the original Tomb Raider on the PS1.
Oh,
They were like, oh, it's like these are the best graphics that you've ever seen on the PlayStation, like hyper realism, like the gameplay model, and like the adverts were like really, 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 really hype. If you look at like if you watch any like old what is now retro game, watch the adverts because gaming adverts have always been pure hype. And I don't know what happened because like you got Tomb Raider, and you're like, oh wow, it's like I'm really in control of Lara Croft. And like nowadays you get like these really hype campaigns, and then you get the game, and you're just like, oh, it's just lacking something.
Yeah.
And I feel like God of War did a brilliant job of like coming back to the world of like, here is a single player game where you feel powerful and you have this, you have that, and like Spider-Man did it well. I'm hoping it comes full circle in the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Like nothing would please me more than to change my name from the Grumpy Brit to the absolutely ecstatic Brit. It's just, I just don't feel like it's going to happen. I feel like so many companies now are too desperate to get your money before they're, you know, they're not as desperate like they used to be to make the best game. So how it used to work was these game companies were, because they were competing and it was all based on how many copies they could sell, because they didn't have any DLC or microtransactions back in the day. So the more copies they sold, the more money they made. And they knew that the way that you sell more copies, it doesn't matter about your marketing, doesn't matter about any of that, they help. But the way that you sell the most copies is by having the best game. Because once those first people buy it and go, oh my God, Dave, Crash Bandicoot 2 is better than the first one, then people would go out and buy it, right? So they would tell their friends would buy it, they would show it, and they would play it, and that was how they made their money. Whereas now, they don't even seem to, a lot of these companies don't even seem to be like bothered by making the best game anymore. They're just like, well, we'll make an all right game, enough people will buy it, and hopefully those people will buy some microtransactions and we'll make the money. And then they're always complaining that they didn't sell enough copies, and I'm just like...
Like God of War, the newest God of War, for example, they worked on it for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, that is... Like, yeah, sure, they switched from one office to another, and there were a lot of things that we gotta fix this before we can release it, but still, 5 years. And I haven't heard any shit about that. Not one. Sure, there will always be bugs in games. We all know that. There will always be some bugs, some small things that are like, okay, what the fuck?
Yeah,
but
of course.
In God of War, it's like, it's no big thing.
Yeah.
No, it's not people sitting there like...
It always depends, because if you're enjoying the game, you don't mind the bugs as much. And like, I feel like, because let's be honest, even Fallout 4 or Fallout 3 and even New Vegas had bugs in them. Like, but that's Bethesda's hallmark. But we enjoyed the games, so we didn't mind.
I love a good bug, to be fair.
Yeah.
I can take a small bug,
and you're just like, I mean, also as a Twitch streamer, it makes great content, because you just have your chat and like, guys, look what this thing's doing, and like you pan away, you pan back in, it's just like there's a dead body, it's just like flipping. And you're just like,
I had a couple of those with Red Dead. Like I loved Red Dead, but there was like a couple of times where the carriage just like took off. And you're like, okay, all right, that doesn't affect the gameplay necessarily. It's funny, you know, it's all that other stuff.
Yeah,
but...
exactly. And you enjoyed Red Dead,
obviously,
right?
not constantly.
Yeah, I loved Red Dead.
Grumps with Dead by Daylight when you had that one where you just flew away.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like a month ago or so, but we were playing a bit of Dead by Daylight, and at one point, you were like mid-animation or something, and he just, like, his character just goes, whoop, straight into the sky. We're like,
well, Dead by Daylight is a weird one, because, like, it is one of the buggiest games I play at the moment, and I enjoy the game so much that I don't mind it, but at the same time, because that's a competitive game, the bugs can be so frustrating, because if that means you lose that match, you're like, well, amazing.
Like, in Batman Arkham Knight, I was gonna interrogate a person, and I literally, like, had run over his half of his face with the Batmobile, and I was like, how are you alive? Like, I've crushed half your skull.
Yeah.
Like,
was that in the cutscene?
Yeah. No. It wasn't.
I saw Jim Sterling did a bit on that where he had like a guy underneath the wheel, and he was like, well, Batman wasn't supposed to kill anybody. Like,
yeah.
If you go into detective mode though, you can see they still have a heartbeat. I literally threw a guy off a building in that game, and like then you float down and you scan them, and it's like, oh, he's unconscious. It's like, sure, he is Batman. Unconscious.
Don't worry, officer. He's still got a heartbeat. You just can't hear it. You need the bat detector to hear it.
Ear to the chest, like, no, there's definitely no heartbeat. It's like, and he's like,
bat detector says it has got a heartbeat actually. So, and I'm Batman, so you're not Batman. So,
you touched him last, not my problem, and then just zip lines away.
Yeah.
No, that's a game I would play.
Just Batman denial.
Batman denial. Never killed a man.
Like, when they make good games, you don't mind the bugs. But when
Yeah.
they make a shitty game and there's tons of bugs, you're like,
Yeah,
why did
100%.
you release it? Why
I
is it
honestly
here?
like this is my thing. Like I mean, there have been some good games that have come out recently. Like I loved Resident Evil 2. I thought that was fantastic. Kingdom Hearts 3,
Kingdom
I was
Hearts
really
3.
enjoying it. I just haven't finished it yet. I really liked it, but that was just kind of
Finished
what I
it,
expected.
loved it.
No spoilers.
I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3. I played 1 and 2 on like the PS2,
Yeah.
and then 3 came out, but it was been such a long gap. And I have a huge back catalogue of stuff to get through. So I was
Yeah,
just like,
I do. I do.
one
And
day I'll come back and I'll get it again, but until that day.
this is why I like your idea of Finish It Friday, because you know
That's
get
good.
through that catalog.
Might steal it.
Yeah, right.
I think everyone should have it. I think everyone should.
Every Friday.
I went through all of my. So I've been through my Twitch library from obviously when you get games free with Prime, PlayStation library, Steam library. Like I've gone through everything everywhere, and I've compiled like a Word document on Google Docs. And I didn't realize how many games I need to finish off.
Yeah.
I have a hell load. Plus side, never gonna run out of content. So.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Very, very true. No, I'm the same. I've got so many games in my Steam library I need to get through. I've got a few PS4 titles that I need to get through, but I don't know. I prefer streaming from PC, so getting to a PlayStation 4 stream is difficult for me. I'll only do it for occasions. But yeah, guys, we're coming up towards the end of the podcast, the end of the show. We usually like to wrap up and say where you can find us. Again, knowing that both of our guests right now aren't currently streaming, but we'll do it anyway. So in case when you do come back, if somebody watches this podcast later, they can come and find you. So Elliott, what have you got coming up on your channel this week, and where can people find you?
You can find me on twitch.tv/blindsideuk. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/blindside_UK. Also _UK, blindside_UK is my Instagram, which I rarely use for if I'm out in nature. I do a lot of like going off on the weekends and going with my mum for walks, because otherwise I'll never see her because we're always so busy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's most of my Instagram content. Coming up on Twitch, there will be more Sekiro. I've started playing simulator games. So obviously I was playing House Flipper this week. I've got Thief Simulator and Car Mechanics Simulator. So I found they're really good streams for just chilling out, chatting to people. So I'm gonna start putting that into the rotation somewhere.
I'm busy that day.
I'm busy that day. You were there last time. You loved that.
Yeah, no, I'd rather. Do you know what? I'd rather hang out and chat with you while you play it than me have to play it. If I'm being honest.
Well, that is exactly the brand that I'm building. So and then yeah, finish it Friday. I think I'm most of the way through Doom now. And then when I finish Doom, I might just take it to chat, see who wants to see what game, and we'll just move it on from there. Like I've got a list. I'm checking it twice. No, we're not getting into Christmas stuff.
No, gosh, way too early.
early.
I've just gotten over the last one. Don't.
Right.
Yeah, I've got a list of games to go through, so I might just take it to the chat and just kind of say like, who wants to see what game? Like, I'm happy to go with it.
Yeah, why not?
So that's me.
Perfect. I'll leave some links down below as well where you can find these guys. But Turtle, what about you? Where can people find you when you eventually do come back?
Yes, my everything on Twitter, Instagram, on Twitch, and on YouTube is TurtleM0de with a 0 instead of an O in the mode. I won't be back on Twitch for a little bit, sadly, since live is a little bit harder to manage. But I hope after I come back from my trip around middle of June, I should get back into YouTube. So once I find a good game to start playing with, I'll start doing that. I think I have to finish Oxenfree before I start anything else, because I never finished that on YouTube.
Yeah. Just as while we're on that topic, if you want to do any collabs on YouTube, I'm looking for people to do YouTube content with, so hit me up.
Yeah, I got you. Yes. And I think that's about it. I'm definitely on Twitter a lot. So if you want to follow there. I don't know if I can plug my Discord. I'm in Discord 24/7.
I'll leave a link. Yeah.
Okay, that's where I'm at right now until I can come back. So if you have any questions and want to reach me, that's the best way, honestly.
Perfect. Snoopy, what about you? Where can people find you? Have you got anything coming up at all?
Mostly, people can find me on Twitch, Snuppy246. Per today's date, I am just desperate to get back live. I finally have what I need to get back live, so I'm considering making another account because I have to start over anyway. So why not just start completely over and be like, okay, this is my new channel. Here, people, you can follow me, but for today's date, it is to Snuppy246 on Twitter. No, not Twitter, Twitch.
They are very similar.
Yeah.
Twitch
And mostly I am considering that I'm gonna start doing some embroidery streams actually, because I've been working on this.
Oh wow, you
recently.
should have shown that earlier. I didn't know you were doing embroidery.
Oh, I do.
No one's left anymore. So.
I'm considering also hanging up on the wall behind me, just to
That'd be good.
decorate it, because plain white. And I'm also gonna do a Detroit Become Human stream again, ripping my soul out and trying to die. Maybe some sim stream where I just decorate a house that someone has built, because I love doing that. But yeah, mostly you find me on Twitch. I have a Twitter too, but it is linked to my Twitch. So you find my Twitter.
Just
we'll-
everything. the internet
Everyone
is
find
gone.
me
Yeah.
on Twitch, and
We'll
then
update
you
you
can find
the
me
links.
everywhere
Well,
else.
if you change your name, I'll come back to the video and I'll edit the link out for the new one. So don't even worry about it. We'll have it there. But guys, that is where you can find us all. If you found this YouTube channel, you've obviously found me. I am the Grumpy Brit. I also stream over on Twitch on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. I do variety gaming over there. I do variety gaming on this channel as well. Still trying to find like my sort of games that I want to make YouTube content out of at the moment. It's kind of hard to figure out what I want to do, but this podcast is every Saturday, so we do this every week, usually with me, Elliott, and Taylor, who is missing this week. She's absent, she is away. How dare she? But we do this podcast every Saturday, and you can also find me over on Creator Central as well. So if you are, as I said earlier, if you are a creator, if you are a content creator, or if you're thinking about becoming a content creator, maybe check out that YouTube channel, but you don't have to. If you want gaming, you've already found me. I'll be doing... I don't even know what I'm doing on... Yeah, stuff. I don't even know it anymore at this point. There's so many games I'm trying to play on Twitch that I can't even keep up. So just gaming. If you like gaming, find me on Twitch. I also complain a lot. I don't know if you can tell that about
Every
me, but I
stream
complain.
starts with a roulette wheel. You just like
just like I get a dart and I have a wall full of like copies of Alien Colonial and I just chuck a dart at it. That's nothing to do with the game selection. That's just because I hate the game so much. I'm just like
Sure, does
you
that
bought more
follow
copies than
76?
anyone else.
no, I never played Fallout 76. Shh. But no, thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have made it all the way to the end of the video, let me know down in the comments. Leave the video a like. I really need to start saying that at the beginning of the video, and subscribe for more gaming moans, basically, and stuff like that. Okay, bye.
Bye!